Morning, it's me again, out on my lovely walk that I've been doing the last few days. The weather's just been absolutely outstanding. And I thought I'd get out here. Incidentally, last night I was out here. It's just, I don't know, 10 minutes walk from our house, but there was an amazing deer went skipping across the path in front of me last night. So I was quite inspired and taken aback by that. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you this morning just about your exam grades and your exam work. A lot of you are sitting exams, have already sat exams, and you'll probably have more coming up. If you're sitting your hires, you've got advanced hires probably next year. If you're sitting the first year of your A-levels, you've got the second year coming up next year. But I wanted to just give you a little bit of advice and talk to you a little bit about a student that we've worked with this year who has just confirmed as in the school has marked the work, but has taken an increase in her exam work from 55% up to 89%. So that's an increase of, I've got it written down, I think I've written it in the comments, increase of 34%, I think, which potentially could take the student from a prelim grade of a grade D up to possibly an A. It's not been verified yet by the exam board, but I just wanted to let you know what we did, or at least talk a bit about some of the things that we discussed. We talked in depth about the grading system and how your work is graded when you're doing art and design. So I've got some notes with me here because it's not complex, but to look at the grading system is really important. If you don't know how they're grading your work and what they're looking for to give you, an A grade, a B grade, a C grade, then how on earth can you make sure that you're covering this when you're making your artwork? So I'm just going to read to you what you'd be looking for to score quite low in this particular exam. So a personal response with simplistic realisation of intentions. Connections between visual and other elements where appropriate are minimal and superficial. Okay, so that's giving you a very basic grade, a low grade. On another part of the exam, they'd be looking for simple recording of ideas with limited observations, showing minimal links to any deliberate intentions. Simplistic ability to reflect critically on work and progress. Now you might kind of read that and think, what does that mean? But when you look at how they're grading something, a piece of artwork that might be an A grade, paper, they're looking for a personal and meaningful response showing sophisticated and mature realisation of intentions. Connections made between visual and other elements where appropriate are sophisticated and mature. In the other section was sophisticated and mature recording of ideas, observations and insights to reflect intentions. So they're looking for a sophisticated ability to reflect critically on work and progress. Okay, so this is how you're deciphering really how you're going to get these high grades. And if you want to get these high grades, then it's really important to understand how your work's being graded. And the things that we looked at really were many of the things that I talk about in my free PDF. I'll put a link to it underneath here, is the 10 mistakes that are often made in portfolios. And within those 10 mistakes, we've got all kinds of things. But some of those things are tearing pages out of your sketchbook. Some of those things are sticking with the materials that you're comfortable with. Not really experimenting. Okay, so when we worked together, I'm not going to tell you everything we did because we spent a lot of time, 7 sessions, that's 7 hours pretty much, talking about how this student could improve the portfolio. And it's going back to much of the stuff that you've learnt at school in art and design since probably, I would say, primary school. That might sound quite surprising, to have to remember and to be thinking about what you learnt in primary school. You'll have reinforced it in secondary school, from S1, whatever year you are in England. Sorry, I'm in Scotland here. We talk about S1, S2, S3, maybe is it year 7, year 8, year 9? So things like the formal elements of art. So looking at line, looking at shape, looking at colour. Think about the colour wheel. When did you do the colour wheel? I don't remember the last time I did the colour wheel, but I tell you, it was a long time ago. But looking at colour relationships, looking at space, looking at balance, looking at composition. And a lot of this will happen actually in the work, so you're creating your artwork thinking about these references to colour, to balance, to composition, to line, but also when you're talking about your annotating. So you'll be talking about annotating whatever syllabus you're doing, annotating your work, and you might be doing that in sketchbooks, which is ideal. You might also be doing that on sort of presentation sheets. And it's really important that your annotation is going deep and not hitting that, simplistic element, basic, superficial, that you're looking at sophisticated, mature, connections made are sophisticated, sophisticated and mature. Okay, so that the writing that you're doing about your work, you're really thinking about. It's no good saying, I did this painting, I'm going to do it for my final piece because I like it. What do you like? And it can be quite difficult to really prize that. And I would say to you to question every single thing that you say, every statement that you say in your annotations, even in your head, even in the decision making that's happening in your head about what you're doing. You need to be thinking, right, so why am I going to do that? Why am I going to do this piece, this drawing, and not that one? What's better about this one, that one? And relating it back to the elements, the formal elements of art and design. Now, I was just thinking about something else I needed to say there, and it's gone. The language. I'm just going to go back again. There's a noisy road up there. I don't want to go up there. So the language that you're using, saying, I chose this one because I like it. Start thinking about, different ways to talk about your work. If you're on my mailing list, my email list, then in the next few days I'm going to be talking a bit more about this and sending out some word banks. Now, word banks that are words that you can use that are not so simplistic, that are a bit more descriptive, a bit more challenging, thinking about, different colour, tone, referencing all the kinds of things that you could be talking about, but not in a simplistic way. Because this is going to get you the grades, and this is going to get you the portfolio as well, that is going to be that much more sophisticated, more in depth than, just keeping it at that kind of very basic level. What else can you be doing? The other thing, the thing that we talked about a lot, and I talk about in my 10 mistakes PDF, is the idea, I did mention it briefly, of tearing pages out of your sketchbook or leaving gaps in your sketchbook to then return and fill after you've finished, your final piece. But really, your sketchbook or your creative process should be documenting the mistakes, it should be documenting the things that haven't worked, and the reflection and the annotating really should be commenting on all this. And this is where this student that we worked with really kind of raised a game, was that, things that didn't work in the sketchbook, they weren't ripped out. They would have been if we'd perhaps not worked together. Or they might not have been tried in the sketchbook, they might have been tried on a piece of paper, and then if it worked, then the student may have put it in the sketchbook and shown that it worked. But to show the things that haven't worked, sorry, I'm getting a bit close to the camera. To show the things that haven't worked is just as important to show the things that have worked. And that is part of the creative process, and that is part of what you get marked on. Let me see if I can find it in here. So yeah, you can look at sophisticated and sustained exploration and mature selection of relevant resources, media, techniques and processes. So how can you demonstrate that you've selected a mature selection of relevant techniques and processes if you haven't shown the things that have worked and the things that haven't worked? Okay, it's going a bit dark there. So listen, these are just some of the things we touched upon in this in the sessions with this student, hoping that the grades that have gone to the examining board are kept. But if this helps you, please put it into practice. There's no point listening to the things that I'm saying or coming to me for mentoring sessions and taking it all in, listening to me, going away and not doing what I say. No, I'm not, it's not like you have to take it that literally. But listen, the advice I'm giving you, you have to implement. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of kind of mental energy and stress if you're going to just listen to all this but then not do it. And you have to be brave to do it. And that's part of the creative process, is being brave, taking risks, challenging yourself and letting yourself be wrong. If you're not prepared to be wrong, then the creative process isn't working, and that's not going to get you the best results either. So yeah, hopefully this has helped. Drop a comment in the box below if you've got any questions, or if you want to ask me anything about my mentoring or my 20-week course. I've got a 20-week course which is designed to get you into art college in 20 weeks. Of course, the deadlines aren't being pulled forwards on my behalf, but the idea is to be able to build your portfolio, get your UCAS statement together, and get yourself ready with your digital portfolio to upload in 20 weeks. And that is entirely possible. Have a think about that. If portfolios are due in January, which they usually are, 20 weeks takes you to August. So you really need to get cracking in August to make this work. Okay, so enough of that. Hope this helps, and I will be back, I don't know when, with another one, but yeah, leave me a comment if you've got any questions. Okay, cheers, bye bye.